What's going on, everybody? Very excited for this episode of Big Thing. Happy Monday to everyone, by the way. I got the great Dan Murrell on the show, and man, are we going to talk about some stuff today. Dan just told me he saw Nightmare Alley. I'm going to get his brief thoughts on that for sure. We'll talk about West Side Story. Oh, we'll talk about Paulo in House of Gucci for sure. Spider-Man, the Marvel, all of it. We have so much to talk about with me and the greatest movie trivia Schmoedown player of all time. So we're going to talk about that with him in just a little bit. And before we do that, everybody, would you be so kind? Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Do that notification. You know how it works. Do that, please. And if you haven't already, go and subscribe to us on podcast feed. Rate, review, follow us on Spotify, all that. It's been so helpful, and I appreciate it very much. But again, you hear me talk all the time. I got Dan Murrell in studio, you humps. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. It's me. It's you. It's Dan Murrell. It's the big thing. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday. It's Big Thing. Kristian Harloff here. I hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Hope you enjoyed the spectacular. Did you get it on pay-per-view? If you didn't, you can still get it on pay-per-view. It's not going to be on public till this Friday. So I hope you did that. One of those people that was at the spectacular, he is the great Dan Murrell. What up, Dan? How you doing?
Good. I enjoyed the spectacular so much, I regrew my beard.
The whole way.
The whole way, yeah.
I liked it. We are, of course, and it's nobody's secret. We're doing a little pre-tape. Dan's in studio because we have the spectacular coming up. Very excited about that. It's going to be a hell of a show, and I'm excited to do it. But we were talking yesterday, and I'm like, didn't even think about this. Are you available? Let's do it, because this is more our speed. We haven't really talked movies, you and I, just kind of shut the shit for a long time. A long time, and it's great to be face to face, not through a screen. Yeah, and we don't have to mask up on this one too, which is good too. It's very nice. It's very nice. So there's so much we have, and usually it's funny because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think even because we first met back in the day when Mark and I were doing Screen Junkies, and we just kind of always hit it off. And you were editing back then. You weren't even on camera.
No, I was doing I would come in and help direct. And then, I was editing the show. So I didn't. Yeah, we just kind of talked while before and after you guys were doing stuff. I
remember, and then we just kind of hit it off. But I always feel like we're close. We're usually on the same page for a lot of stuff with films. Sometimes. Even if we're able to be cordial when we don't agree with each other and kind of understand. I always like talking movies with you because it's like, oh, really, you like that part of it? I didn't see it the same way because
right.
And strangely enough, and I don't know if it's just because it's a smaller channel and I only have right now at the moment 24,000. The conversations have been pleasant here.
They have, yeah.
And have they been pleasant on yours?
They have been. They're largely nice? Very pleasant, it is very nice. And I mean, that's something that I always try to stress when I'm making a review is, the way that the internet works and, so many channels out there, it's easy to fall into that thing of all right, best, worst thing ever, because you know what? There's been some times where I have thought that the movie is the worst thing ever or really bad, and it generates a lot of clicks and attention. Yeah. Like a movie we're going to talk about, House of Gucci, I could put myself on the thumbnail going ugh, because that's how I really feel about the movie. Right. You're
not trying to say, someone came up to actually, Kalinowski was on, we were doing Sith Council, and he said to me, he goes, I never can tell with your thumbnails if you like the movie or don't like the movie, if you're making fun of it. Because West Side Story, I was just kind of singing. But I do that on purpose sometimes too. I do that. But it just depends.
But I always try to encourage. It's just I don't, and most critics don't. I'd say maybe 10% of critics think that my opinion is the truth, and if you don't agree with me, you're stupid.
Right.
Maybe even fewer than 10%. But I always try to say listen, I'm lucky to have a voice, but I'm some guy off the street.
See, that's why I don't consider myself a critic, because of that. I consider myself somebody who just, and I know. Tomato as far as reviewing movies and critiquing movies. I just have always come from the school of to me, Leonard Maltin's a critic, right? Yeah. Bibiani, I think, is a critic.
Oh yeah.
Alonzo.
I disagree with him
all the time.
75% of the time.
Me too.
But like, I've never seen him have an opinion that I'm like, that wasn't very well thought out. Like, no, he's like, that's what a critic does, and that's what a critic is.
He's a critic. To me, he's a critic. Alonzo Duralde, the late great James Rauchi, who just passed away, was a critic. Those are critics. I don't find myself to be a critic. I find myself to be someone who I just reviewed a movie I saw. I gave my thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. I like to talk to people when I'm doing my reviews the same way that you and I are talking now. I'm not going to do. Bibiani sits down. I would almost put you in that critic category though, because I know you're just a guy who talks movies, but you do so much research and you're so well thought out. And what you do, I just talk like an asshole, you know?
Yeah, but I also I don't grade. I don't grade on my channel. Like when I go on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sort of like a rock in a hard place because I don't like the binary thing. Yeah. So I do give like a rating on Rotten Tomatoes because I don't want it to just be like fresh rotten.
Right.
Like when people are like, why don't you grade? Why don't you give a grade? Why don't you give a grade? It's like because like to me it's not about the grade. It's about the discussion. It's about the conversation.
Yeah.
So like when I'm reviewing a movie, it's like this is what I think of the movie, and I want to break it down. But I don't want you to fast forward to the end of the video to see like, oh, did he give it 4 ducks or did he give it 2 bald eagles? Like it's at that point it just becomes. That's why it's weird. Like my favorite critic's Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
I think that he was one of the best critics if you read his stuff. But at the same time, he and Gene Siskel sort of changed the game to thumbs up, thumbs down.
Right.
Because it's the same as the YouTube thumbnails. It clicks, it traffics,
right.
It's easy.
Right.
It's people can tell. It's a green splat, it's a red.
Right.
A lot of people. I do Rotten Tomatoes stuff on my show all the time on charts. People are like, why are you so caught up on Rotten Tomatoes? It's like because there's so much more behind it than just a percentage number and a little thing. And nuance. I would say nuance is boring. But I like nuance. So,
yeah, I get it. I still, it's funny. I think it's just because of nostalgia things. I still do. I'll throw the Schmo thing in there.
Yeah,
and this came from Mark and I doing the Schmo system. But I feel the same. It's like, oh yeah, how do I feel about this? Blah blah blah. What'd you give? Well, obviously you didn't give anything because you don't give ratings. But I gave a 4.5 for West Side Story. Mm-hmm. I didn't see at this point. Your review's been up for a little bit. So, what did you think?
I loved it. I went in like. How can you? Because it's so like obviously the original movie's got some stuff that's like not necessarily tied to the performances, the content of the movie, but just like it was made in the '60s and they did some dumb stuff.
Right.
But I was just like, how can you improve it? And I can't. And I was blown away. It's one of my favorite movies.
Do you know how I think that the major reason right away, even going into it, accepting of it, less so like if someone remade Rocky, right? It's going to be very hard to get me on board with that. Like even Karate Kid, which I don't think was a bad remake. Mm-hmm. It was just, it's just not the same, right? There's no reason to me to remake it.
What are you bringing to it? What are you adding to it?
Yeah, but the difference for me right away with this was that how many iterations of West Side Story have been done in Broadway, on high school stages, and college. That screen is Steven Spielberg's stage.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? This is not because the 1961 movie is not the original. The play is the original. The play is just an adaptation of the play. So this wasn't some movie that was just some Holy Bible movie. That there are movies like that for sure. You got to, if you touch it, you got to be careful. This is Spielberg. This is a love letter to the play, to the music, and boy, did this dude deliver in that Steven Spielberg. This is when he has the magic. Yeah. He's still like. This thing's beautiful, dude.
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
And what I loved was like, and I talk about it, it's like he didn't go in there saying like, I'm going to radically reinvent West Side Story. Because he knows that like 80% of it's already there. But it's things like, Mara. I went with Mara.
Yeah.
She'd never seen the
movie. Ever.
And never seen the movie, hadn't heard most of the music.
Wow, that's fun though.
And 3 minutes in, she looks at me and she was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's great.
And part of it that I think it opened things up so much because like I love the original.
So Mara loved it.
Mara loved it.
Yeah.
She was blown away by it. And I loved it too. And what I love is like things like, even like numbers like the Officer Krupke song. And I told her like, because we're gonna watch the original.
Yeah, I just watched it last night with my daughter.
It's like that song is great, but like in the original movie they're in the store.
Well, it's also Riff is part of it. Riff's not in this one.
And it's like a lot of the songs are like they're in a room.
Yeah.
And what Spielberg does is like he just opens this thing up so much and is able to. And Janusz Kaminski shot the hell out of this thing and it looks great. But to be able to go out in the streets and these big wide shots and like stuff that you couldn't necessarily do at that scale in the '60s, he's just like the world is my oyster here, and I am just gonna open this thing up, and it's like
I'm Steven Spielberg, and here's my West Side Story.
Yeah,
and this is what he was gonna do, and I think that I felt the same exact way that you did. I watched. I know the 61 version very well. My mom showed it to me when I was younger. Watched it many times. I tell the story on this show that my brother was maybe 5 at the time. And this song is Maria, Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria. My 5-year-old brother goes, fine, turns the TV off, goes, we're not going to watch this anymore. Turns it off. And I always remember that particular thing. But I remember and being a theater kid at Florida State, it just when I was 10 years old, I was in a acting program, and it was the first time I really remember being a part of it, learning the songs, the Sharks, the Jets, all of it, right? But I also remember, like, when you watch Rita Moreno sing the America song, they're in a soundstage.
Yeah.
And now
it's amazing.
It's amazing, but it just, like you said, you're limited to what you can do.
Yeah.
The woman who plays
Ariana DeBose.
Oh my God.
So good.
The casting I thought in this thing. And we'll get into the Ansel Elgort side of it as far as the performance in a second, but I was watching her and these standouts. Holy crap, the casting in this movie is fantastic.
Rachel Zegler.
Oh,
I
superstar!
It's like I can only think of a few times where I'm watching a movie and it's someone that I haven't seen before, and I'm like, that person's going to be a megastar.
You can't stop watching her.
No, she's
brilliant. And God bless and rest in peace to Natalie Wood. And her accent is actually pretty good in the movie, but in no world should she have been cast as Maria, right?
She was a name.
She was the name,
yeah.
But in no world today would she be cast as Maria. No.
For many
different reasons. But this was again comparing it, because I had not seen West Side Story, the 61 version, in a little bit, but remembered it enough, right? And then I watched West Side Story, the Spielberg version. It's in my head the whole time. And I was kind of singing the songs around the house. It's hard not to afterwards. And my daughter was like, what is that? My daughter is interested in plays and stuff too. And I showed her the America thing. She fell in love with it. She's like, can we watch the movie? And I was like, do you want to wait for the new one, or do you want to watch? She's like, no, I want to watch the original first. Wow. So we watched it, and we watched the 61 version. And she's like, I liked it a lot better before the Rumble, because nobody died. Right, and she was super sad and everything too.
Welcome to Broadway, kid.
Welcome to Broadway. The life ain't all sunshine and rainbows, right? But comparing it and watching that, it was an interesting thing to do, because, like I said, the riff thing with Officer Krupke bothered me when I watched it at first. He wasn't in it. Yeah. It was actually Roca who said, "Yeah, but think about it. They portray this riff. He's less goofy." In this one, or he's like, and he's more. They want to portray him as more serious. He's got more of that edge, and it doesn't make sense for him to be there for that one. And I agreed. I agreed with him when he said that. Yeah.
Well, and they also, without giving too much away, but there's one number that, I actually, when I watched the 61 version, is kind of my least favorite, because I think it stops things dead in its track. That's boy.
Yeah, right.
You just had this big thing happen, and then the movie just kind of stops, and they're just in this room.
They gave it to what's his face?
They switched the order around. And it was actually one of my favorite numbers, because it makes sense where it is. It makes sense why they're doing it. It's a completely different motivation, but they got business to do, and there's a whole thing. Like I said, without giving too much away, but they, it's more with Tony and Riff.
Yep.
And it just comes alive, and it's like they took one of my least favorite parts from the original and completely changed it.
I agree with
you. But I wasn't sitting there like, oh, what are they doing? Because Spielberg obviously has respect because of everything else he does. It's like the choreography, like Jerome Robbins, you can see all of that original stuff in there, and the music is beautifully, like David Newman, like he arranges it beautifully, but like they didn't go in and change around all this stuff. It wasn't.
No, he stayed very true.
Other movies where they're like, well, I'm going to turn this song into like when they did Lion King, and they turned Be Prepared into like a spoken beat poetry or whatever the hell it was. It's like, no, they know it works. And Spielberg's going to kind of do some stuff.
You're right. The changes that he made were so subtle that they were subtle enough that in my head I'm going, was that in the original movie? I don't remember it being in the original movie. And then when you watch, like, no, he changed it up, but it wasn't so jarring that it hurt the story. Nothing that he changes hurts the story. Nothing that he does changes the story. No. He just maneuvers things around a little differently to tell the story, to where I think that there are some improvements in this movie, like very much so. Ansel Elgort, not getting into the controversies and everything too, because to be completely honest with you, I'm not well read enough about it to say what I know and what I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know enough about it.
I'm the same. I mean, it's like people brought it up, and several people did, and I'm just like, I get it. It's.
I just don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it to whether to say, or I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But what I will say is what people were going after with him were saying that they didn't think he had chemistry. They thought he was boring. They thought that he didn't have that thing. I disagree. I actually liked him in the role. I thought he had great chemistry with her. I thought she was the standout. I thought she outshined him, but I thought they worked well. I believed that they were in love.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that he's a little because even again, not giving anything away, they give something new to Tony in this that wasn't in the original, something like kind of his past.
Yeah.
And I bought it with him. And I said, okay, that's and I understood him trying this thing why in the original he just doesn't want to be part of the Jets anymore. Right. There's no motivation as far as why.
He's like, I'm a grocery boy now. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, and that's it. But there's a motivation here, and I thought he did it well. Did you like him in this movie?
I did. When I was talking about, because in my review I'm going down and it's like all of these things, and Rachel Zegler, and every character, and Bernardo
was great.
Bernardo, and what I said about Ansel Elgort was like, it's kind of like my thoughts on Godfather 3. I've never thought Godfather 3 was a terrible movie. The problem is it's next to two masterpieces, and that's how I kind of felt about Ansel Elgort. Was like he can sing, he can dance, he can act. He is a movie actor,
right,
in a cast full of like Tony winners and nominees and stage actors.
Yes.
And so he's good, but the problem is that he's next to 6 people that are brilliant.
Right.
And so that was my thing.
Yeah.
But it's like I wasn't like sitting there with Russell Crowe and Les Mis like, oh my
No.
God, what are they doing?
No.
He can do the part. It's just that everybody else,
it's
and even
so
Rita Moreno is so great, and he's got so many scenes with Rita Moreno, and it's just like, I don't care who you are.
Riff was great.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care who you are. If you're on screen with Rita Moreno, you're going to be looking at Rita Moreno.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you felt the same about Rachel Zegler, by the way. At the end, like just the second she shows up, because it is a who is this, and then you're like, because that's answered very quick. When you ask yourself who is this, your answer right away goes, that's Maria.
That's Maria.
Immediately.
Yeah.
She's that good. Okay. Great. We got a lot to talk about with the champ here. We have so much. And before we do it, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you guys once again, I have been devouring Magic Spoon. I have been devouring. Have you tried this yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Dan, I love Magic Spoon, and I'll tell you why. Because growing up for everybody, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. Everybody gives it up at one point or another, or they think that they should, because it's just full of sugar and it's junk that you shouldn't eat. I was trying to cut down on carbs and sugar and healthy food. I didn't know what I wanted to do as far as snack went, because you can't eat anything good anymore. I've tried the protein shakes and the powder. Now it's finally a delicious way to get protein before and after workouts. And everybody tries to eat better. Breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has amazing flavors that you love, but without all the bad stuff. This is what they have. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. There's only 140 calories in each serving. It is keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb. The variety pack, 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter. I have now done 2 things. I don't know how you eat these, Dan, but like I crush these cereal boxes. Like I mix them. I do the chocolate and the peanut butter first.
All right.
Last night I did the fruity and the frosted together.
Okay.
I'm a big chocolate peanut butter person in general, but I love this frosty and fruity thing together. It is really good, and it's tasty. It makes the milk taste yummy. I love it. Go to magicspoon.com/bigthing. Grab a variety pack. Try it today. And be sure to use the code BIGTHING at checkout and save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon's so confident in their product, it's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they're going to refund the money and no questions asked. You got to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal. magicspoon.com/bigthing. Use that code, though, BIGTHING. Save $5 off. Thank you so much to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. All right, let's move on over here. I'm standing here with Dangerous Dan Murrell. Well, let's just get into this Apollo thing.
Yeah.
You and I immediately felt exactly the same way. House of Gucci. Were you looking forward to this movie?
I thought, because I when I'm reviewing a movie, I try not to. I'll take it. Thank you. When I'm reviewing a movie, I try not to read too much of that initial stuff, because I want to go in with a clear mind. But sometimes it's one of those movies that, like, I just open Twitter and it's a wall of stuff.
Right.
And it was all over the map. Like, I saw some people like, it's The Godfather, and some people were just like, it's a train wreck. So it really was good because I went in like not knowing what to expect, and the first hour of the movie, I was like, I love this movie.
Yeah.
And then we hit the Jared Leto part of the movie, and I immediately
he really bothered you.
He stops the movie dead in its tracks.
Okay, see,
for me,
okay,
I a lot of people was like, oh, he was the highlight, but I think it's a lot of people that didn't like the movie. Like for me, I was digging the movie, and then he derailed the whole train, and it never got back all the way on track for me.
Not as strong for me. We share the same sentiment that he's playing Luigi in this thing, and he is a Saturday Night Live character in a serious film. Yes. And I think you said it best when it was like it's kind of like a look at me performance as opposed to everyone else. I think Adam Driver and Lady Gaga are kind of trying to build the ensemble and make everything
they're
work.
larger than life, but like he's just like I forgot about everyone else in the scene, and not in a good way when he came on screen because it's just like
he looks lucky. When I was talking to Roka again about this one, Roka was like, but he looks. If you watch an interview with this Paolo guy, they look the same and they sound the same. I don't know which Paolo he's looking at because I looked at Paolo Gucci. He wasn't doing like that. He wasn't doing that. He sounded fine, and he didn't have that floppy, ridiculous bald head going on and whatever. I mean, it was. I don't know, and that's a Ridley Scott thing too, because Ridley Scott approved it. But that being said, he didn't bother me as much as he bothers you, because I think that there was a point of it where it's like, okay, he's definitely in a different movie, but I can go with it, and then we just moved through. But he just took you out of it
completely. Out of it, because like, I'm going to say my marriage like this, but then I'm going to go up here. Why are you going to do this to me?
It's so good. It really does sound exactly like him.
I have my design for the new suit for the Gucci. It's almost like Adam Sandler.
It is 100%.
I don't going to go there.
Don't do it.
This is my masterpiece. And even just
I'm going to piece in the theater.
And even when he's doing coverage, like the coverage, he's like doing weird faces and stuff. It's like every second that he's on camera, it's like the most just like pay attention to me.
It does seem that way.
Like,
well, so you told me before he's really getting buzz for this role.
Yeah, he is.
I don't get it.
He is 100% getting buzz for this role.
I don't get it. I never understand award season though. To be honest with you, it's like I'm glad when the movies come out of certain things, and that's another reason I'm glad that you're on the show, because I wanted, there's a lot of movies. I have a lot of the screeners, a lot of things, but there's certain things, just because Netflix is so in the game now, and they have so many movies, and there's so much that I don't even know what the hell to watch anymore. I watched King Richard.
Yep.
Great. Loved it.
Thought
it was great. It was funny because I watched Tick, Tick, Boom first.
Loved it.
As did I. And I said, Garfield's got it.
Yeah.
Then I watched King Richard. 15 minutes in, I said, sorry, Garfield.
I think I watched them on the same day.
Did you?
I was like, Will Smith's amazing. And then I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, and I was like, Andrew Garfield's amazing. It's
so good.
that they're both like...
So good. I would give it to Will Smith over Garfield at the moment. Who else is being talked about for Best Actor?
Well, there's Benedict Cumberbatch.
For what?
Power of the Dog.
I never saw. I have it. Is it good? What the hell is it about?
It's like the leader in the clubhouse right now.
That's the leader.
Like Jane Campion and let me tell you. You mentioned Netflix.
Down. Yeah.
I'm. If you don't know, I moved. I'm in Arkansas now.
Yes.
And it's been a little tough with.
I was wondering why I didn't get an invite to the house, and I was like, he must not be here anymore.
Yeah. It's exactly. It's been a little tough with screenings. Yeah. Like we've made 5 trips to Dallas.
Yeah.
To we had to go to Dallas to see West Side Story. Like, listen, it's a first world problem.
You went where? To
Dallas. It's 5 hours one way, and we go back and up the same day because that's where the screenings are.
Holy man!
And listen, I knew that going in. I'll do what I got to do.
Right.
Netflix has been the only studio. Every one of their contenders, they're screening in Little Rock.
Oh, wow.
They're making sure that people get out to see this. So Power of the Dog I actually was supposed to go see. It was a Monday, so Charts ran over, and of course it's the leader. So I didn't get a chance to see it. So I got to catch up on that. Hopefully this weekend because I got to vote in one of my critics things.
This is why I have you on the show, because I have to do the same, and I need to know what to watch these days. I'm not as caught up as I used to be.
Well, that's the other thing is all of these voting deadlines are so early.
Yeah.
All these critics, I see there's critics groups today, like New York film critics. And
I think we're in the same one. So we're in the same one. So I think I need to know when BFCA, right?
Yeah, I don't know when the deadline is. I haven't. Have you gotten anything? I haven't gotten anything.
I don't know when the deadline is.
Power of the Dog, I need to see.
Okay.
But
you haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it yet.
All right.
But there's so many that are coming out. I'm telling you one that's a sleeper.
What you got?
I saw it. It's coming out on Netflix at Christmas. Don't Look Up.
Which one's that?
It's Adam McKay's new movie.
Oh, okay.
With Leo and Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. You saw it?
Hill. Yeah.
Is it great?
I loved it.
Great. Yeah, because I'm looking forward to that one. You think it's sleeper?
It's not subtle.
Okay.
But I think it'll hit with a lot of people.
Okay.
And it's not getting a lot of buzz right now because not everyone has seen it.
Right.
I don't think a lot of the critics have even seen it because it just screened last week.
No, and they had that Sandra Bullock one that just came out, right? Or coming out.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
No one knows about. But the Leonardo DiCaprio one I really want to see.
He was great.
Okay.
Everyone's great. I laughed more in that movie than I have in any movie all year.
Is it a full comedy or it's more like
it's a comedy and a satire.
Okay.
And again, it's not a subtle satire.
Yeah.
It's obviously born out of a lot of frustration over the past year and a half. But I laughed more at that movie than I have any movie this year. One of my favorite movies this year.
All right, that's good to know. So that one's to check out. All right, so
that's on the list.
So Don't Look Up, Power of the Dog. So Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield,
Cody Smith-McPhee
for
supporting actor for Power of the Dog.
Okay.
Like now is the leader. He's like the number one
What
guy.
is this about? This movie?
I don't know.
You don't know either. Okay, you just heard. Okay, all right.
I tried to go in blind, so I was so pissed that I missed the screening because like that was like way at the top of my
screener
list.
Came yesterday for BFCA, so you should get it soon.
Yeah, I'm just not at home, so it's like, but it's out too though. Now, Power of the Dog came out on Netflix this week.
Oh, it
so
did.
you can watch
so
it.
You can watch it on Netflix
right now.
Okay.
So
Wow,
I gotta see it. I gotta see it. I know that some people. I saw Snyder tweet. He's like, "No way in hell this is gonna win anything. It's boring and it's long." But
you never know with him.
Snyder,
sometimes he nails it. Sometimes he's on Mars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but Jane Campion is like the leader for director, and Cody Smith-McPhee and Cumberbatch. Like that's like the big one I haven't seen yet. But you never know these movies that are front runners early and then they fade. What I love about this season, this award season, is last year I think because not as many movies came out, and also because of the weird February thing.
Right.
Last year, like Nomadland came out in like September at Toronto.
Yeah.
And like that was it. Like the whole award season was like, it's gonna be Nomadland.
Right,
You get to the end of the year, it's gonna be Nomadland.
Right.
You get to the Oscars, it's Nomadland.
Right.
This year, there's not a movie, even though Power of the Dog, a lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, I mean, it's like there's not one. I don't think there's one category where people are like, this person's winning.
Right.
I love that.
It could go any.
It could go any way.
Because House of Gucci's probably gonna get nominated.
Maybe.
I don't mind the movie. 10 movies or 8 movies?
I liked it.
Yeah, but but I best picture, I don't know. But like, so best actress?
Best actress, about? Lady Gaga's in the mix.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga's in the mix. I'm trying to think. I mean, right now Rachel Zegler's not getting she's climbing.
Yeah.
She's climbing because people are seeing the West.
That's the other thing. You think West Side Story is going to get nominated for Best Picture?
I think so.
Okay.
All these, and I get that you have this whole awards industry and they've been prognosticating for like 6 weeks now, but the problem is nobody's seen these movies.
Right.
Now people are starting to see them, and I think West Side Story, especially coming out at the end of the year for the Oscars especially, it's just like it is that return to like that movie magic. And so I certainly hope that it's going to get a lot of awards attention, and honestly, I think I love so many of the movies that have won Best Picture. But let's be honest, like they're not crowd pleasers.
A lot of them, yeah.
Nomadland is not a crowd pleaser. Moonlight,
$1 Million Baby
film, not it's like I'm not saying that these movies shouldn't have won. They should have won. It's just the way that it's worked out. I think the Oscars need a Best Picture winner that is like a crowd favorite that a bunch of people have seen.
Yeah, well,
I think that West Side Story could be that movie.
It's still though, even West Side Story though, doesn't end pretty.
No, but it's
and it's got a lot of themes.
But you walk out, the music and the cinematography. It's great acting. It's like it's something that I think people are gonna rediscover what they love about movies. Whereas like I love Belfast. Belfast was a great movie. If Belfast won Best Picture, I would be so happy because it's a great movie. But it's another one of those movies that's gonna be like the movie fans like it and the critics like it. It's not even that it's dark. It's just not like one of those big movies. Like 90% of the movie-going audience isn't going to see it because it's just not that kind of a movie. They should, but they're not gonna. I think the Oscars need to find a movie that's like people can watch the show and root for it.
Right.
Like they did with Return of the King or Titanic or those movies because the show is hemorrhaging. And part of it is that studios aren't putting the kind of money behind movies that can win Best Picture.
Yeah.
I love Marvel movies. Not many of them worthy of a Best Picture nomination.
No, and that's
none of them gonna win ever.
No.
and
they'll never let it happen.
Even if
it's the best movie, they'll never let it happen. And that actually goes into another conversation I want to have with you in a second about that I've had before, but I want to get your points of view on it with streaming versus theaters and all that. Yeah. And we'll get to it in just a moment too. But the more important question is how you guys are wiping your butts. It's very important. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do it the right way, and you also want to be a nice person, what I want to do is I want to give my family and my friends something more memorable than just a gift card, because that's what you're thinking about doing. Don't do that. This holiday season, you want to get something good. It can be very tough sometimes to think of a meaningful gift, and I want to be able to get something, useful, but you also want to do something unique. They don't see it coming. Hello Tushy Bidet. That ticks all the boxes. If you're buying for a lot of family members, Hello Tushy Bidets are a great gift for your eco-conscious cousin, your neat freak sister, your farty dad, or anyone who poops. You know who that is? That's everybody. Apparently everybody poops.
They wrote a whole book about it.
They did. They did write a book about it. Well, they should be writing books about Hello Tushy, Dan, because everybody deserves a clean while contributing to a healthier planet. It is the gift that keeps on giving. It's Hello Tushy. It cleans your butt way better than wiping. It cuts your toilet paper down by your use by 80%. You save trees and all the thousands of gallons of water used to convert them into toilet paper, and it comes with a book full of poop jokes. That's the seller right there.
Oh. Reading material too.
That's what you get. You get
it's a holistic bathroom experience.
It really is. And this thing, I felt classy using this thing. I feel French. I feel English. I don't feel like my Queens, New York self anymore. I don't, because you know what? This is what Hello Tushy Bidets do. They wash your bum with fresh water for a way better clean than toilet paper. It's a simple spray, and then you pat dry. It attaches to your existing toilet. There's no electrician, no plumber needed. It installs in less than 8 minutes, and it cuts down your toilet paper use by 80%. You save money and paper waste. Make the restroom your best room with your complete Tushy system. Join the millions of happy Hello Tushy customers right now who will take care of their U-logs the dignified way. So give that gift of a clean butt to yourself or your loved ones this holiday season, and you'll get 10% off, plus free shipping right now at hellotushy.com/bigthing. Go ahead and tag me. Not a picture of your butt, but tag me and Hello Tushy on social media so that we can celebrate your clean butt. That's hellotushy.com/bigthing. 10% off and free shipping. Do it. Let the English see you do it. What's that from, Dan?
Braveheart, right?
That's right. See, you can't stump this guy.
The English.
Yeah, English. Let them see you do it. So going into this streaming conversation, what I've been saying is that I think that there's so many purists out there, and understandably so. And whether it's a Ridley Scott on the high side of thing, or people who just like to watch movies, critics that we were talking about before. The evolution of the industry, like any other industry, has now geared itself that the theater is really meant for blockbuster films, because of what streaming is able to do. When the theater experience was the theater experience at its height, let's say not necessarily in the height, but let's say in the 70s and the 80s, you didn't have TVs like this. You didn't have sound systems. You didn't have Netflix. You didn't have all these different ways to. You did 4 networks on a little box TV. So why in the world would you want to watch anything on this crappy television when you could go to the theater and watch the big thing? And a movie star was royalty, and a movie star. Everybody with a TikTok account now is a famous person. Yeah. So it's such a different world now that kids growing up, it doesn't matter to them, spectacle is the blockbuster. So that's how they're going to see it. I know it pains people to hear it.
Yeah.
But when I don't need to see, I did see House Gucci in the screening, but I was invited to the screening and I went and saw it. West Side Story. So I don't know if I'm paying for those movies to go. I think that West Side Story was an experience you should see in the theater.
That's one that I would say, I would be.
I know, but people aren't going to be shelling out dollars. Like, if you have a chance to see, Spider-Man in the theater, or West Side Story, you ain't seeing West Side Story in the theater. You can see it you can see it once it hits the screen, and I can't wait to show it to my daughter and watch it back here with her, and she's going to watch it. But I know how much you enjoy film. I know how much of a student of film you are. Where do you stand on the fact of what the theater experience is now, as opposed to the streaming and what streaming has done to the business?
I mean, it's a complicated conversation because I believe now, and probably always will. I think that the best way to see any movie, if it was made for the big screen,
right,
and most directors still are making it for the big screen, is on a big screen. COVID complicates it.
Yeah.
Because there's people that don't feel safe, people that can't go.
Right.
I understand that. It sucks. It sucks. That's where we are. When people say, like, do you think that COVID, killed the screen? I think that it put the foot on the accelerator by probably about 3 or 4 years. But I think we'd be where we are now in 2024, 2025. It's weird because there's so many movies like, you take a movie like The Power of the Dog.
Right.
Or you take a movie like Tick, Tick, Boom, for example.
Yeah.
Tick, Tick, Boom. We saw it happen within the Heights.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see it.
Right.
And I think even looking, because I don't think it was necessarily COVID related. I think fewer people saw it. But I think
musicals is a tough sell in general. Yeah.
Netflix, by making Tick, Tick, Boom and putting it out, Netflix put that movie in more people's living rooms than it ever would have been in.
Yeah.
Without Netflix.
Right. Right.
That people can just click it and watch it, and maybe who knows how many people are actually going to discover musicals or see this Andrew Garfield performance. So that's a positive.
Yes,
that's objectively that's a positive. I think when you're making a movie for Netflix as a filmmaker, then I'm a little more in favor of it because you're on that page from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what the deal is, which is that you're gonna get you're gonna get a limited theatrical release. Not many people are gonna go see it. Even if a bunch of people do, no one's gonna know about it because Netflix isn't gonna release the numbers because they don't, which is a box office guy drives me freaking nuts.
Yeah.
But that it's made. The gray area for me is things like the HBO Max stuff, which thankfully we're rotating out of this year.
See, I'm on a different side, but we get into that.
That for me is like it's like you're welching on a deal. It's like Denis Villeneuve made Dune under the assumption that
that's a different thing.
But that's different.
Yes.
But I also think that I think that eventually we're going to go to a bit of a hybrid strategy. Like I think
30 days out or something.
The theatrical window now is basically cut in half. It's now 45 days. It's 2 weeks for some movies, which again is fine. Like focus features, they're smaller movies. If you want to put that in front of people, premium video on demand after 2 weeks, it's not a movie that's going to do a bunch. It's not going to step on anyone's toes really. So I think that we're revolutionizing it, but I think we're going to go to more exclusives for some movies and short 45-day theatrical windows for other ones. So I don't think a movie like Dune is going to ever not play on a big screen.
Right. So where I stand on HBO Max, I agree with you that whoever you're making a deal with needs to be aware of what that deal is going into it. There's no argument there. I'm on the same page with you there. I am not on the same page with a lot of people when it comes to the strategy of like HBO Max. I love the idea that it comes out same day. But I think the director has to be on board. Whoever has to be on board when you're going into the deal. Yes. But I always try to tell people who aren't parents and who are like, in that family side of things that it is very hard. If I don't go to a screening, like my wife never gets to go to the movies, right? She's never gets a chance, like, date night every once in a while, but she likes to see all this stuff. So it's been great for her to be able to see like King Richard when it came out on the day of. Did they take back, like Matrix was supposed to come out? Is Matrix still coming out on?
They're all, see, the problem is the whole thing with Denis Villeneuve was, they said like, well, are they gonna take it off so it's not premiering day and date? And they can't do that because they advertised from the beginning of the year all of our movies, so they can't welch.
I know,
so it's
but
now
that's
gonna be
for all those.
date.
But the latest, like I don't know, it said trailer number 2, but then it turned out to be a TV trailer for Matrix.
Yeah.
At the end of it, it says available only in theaters. Now, I don't know if that was the Japanese trailer that came out afterwards. That maybe that it's just there. I don't know because of HBO Max. But either way, I like the idea that it comes out day of because there's certain movies that I can go and I can see. However, if it turns out to be 30 days afterwards, I'm on board. I don't like the Disney Plus model of I'm already subscribed and I also have to pay $30. That's leeching off your audience.
Yeah,
that's leeching off your audience. If I what I do understand and like is, let's say, so I don't know, Shang-Chi comes out.
Yeah,
Shang-Chi comes out and they say, all right, look, we're going to put it after 30 days. It's going to be on Disney Plus, but we're also going to make it available. If you're not subscribed to Disney Plus, then you can go buy it for $20 or $30 on Amazon.
Right.
Right.
Which is roughly kind of what they're already doing.
But they're also charging their Disney Plus subscribers.
Right.
Why am I subscribed to your service then?
Right.
Don't do that to me. That's there's no reason for that. It's like that's what I like about HBO Max. You're on board, then you get the benefits.
Yeah.
It's like plus, well, no, then you get to unlock it earlier. Eat shit.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go transition to a place where there are going to be movies that have a window of exclusivity. That's what HBO is going to move toward next year. I think so too. And there's going to be probably more movies that they make with the understanding up front. This is going to premiere only on HBO Max. Right. There's going to be a smaller number of movies that are in theaters. And listen, as a big screen guy, as a guy who prefers to watch movies in a theater, I can be comfortable with that. Yeah. If you allow people the option for some amount of time, so that if you want to go see it on the big screen, you can, and obviously when it's safe, etc. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I've sort of come around a little bit. It's sort of like the whatever stages of grief. I'm at acceptance.
Right.
And I understand that the world is going to change. So for me, it's pretty much my best case scenario is if we can get to these studios, they agree with certain directors, we will give you this window of exclusivity. And by the way, there's some movies like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Got to see that in the theater.
There is no financial model that makes sense for Disney to put that exclusively because, and we've seen this, yes, you are taking home more of the money from the streaming than from selling a movie ticket, but you are tanking it because it is pirated instantly. Yeah. And if there's any country that it has not opened in, it will. I mean, Jungle Cruise came out in China and made $2. Yeah. Because people have been able to watch it for months. Right. And so there are some movies like Spider-Man No Way Home. I think that the theatrical model is the best financial model for that movie.
I agree with you. And I think that's also why going into the beginning of it, of this whole conversation, was that there are just those spectacle movies that should be seen in the theaters in general, right? And then right now, those, whether it changes in 10, 15 years, who knows? But it's Marvel, it's DC, it's Star Wars. I mean, and with Star Wars, the push, on Star Wars, where I've been saying it, and I don't know where you stand on it, is that for me, I don't really care about seeing a Star Wars movie in the theater right now because Star Wars, I think that Marvel has a different approach right now because Marvel has essentially made a television show on the big screen for the last, 14 years, whatever it was, since starting with Iron Man, whatever it was. Yeah. So they have been doing that to where you're like, okay, this is the model that's built, and they have a full, clear plan. So every time you're watching it, it's episodic almost in a certain aspect. Star Wars has really latched onto that episodic through television. Yeah. And the building of the galaxy, of how big the galaxy is in Star Wars, is benefiting through long-form storytelling through Mandalorian. Obi-Wan is much better fitted for television in a 6-hour movie, really, by Deborah Chow directing the whole thing, as opposed to what happened in the new trilogy, no plan, throwing things together, and it's just a mess. But the Patty Jenkins movie was a movie. The Rogue Squadron movie was a movie that I was interested in seeing because there's no predetermined expectations. There's no expectations of what you think is supposed to happen or who needs to be in it. You can build out the same way you did with Mandalorian, but it's a one-off. Yeah. That, to me, is how I want to see Star Wars move forward, unless they wind up doing like Old Republic, 3 movies to set it off with a plan, and then that leads into a television series. That's how I think you make Star Wars work. But I don't need to see it in the theater right now.
I think, you always have to follow the market. And I really do believe most Marvel fans, now there's always going to be some people you give them an option to watch it at home, they're going to be like, yes, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Understandable. I think if you go to most Marvel fans today and you said, would you rather see Spider-Man No Way Home for the first time at home by yourself or with like 1 or 2 other people, or in a theater with 200 other excited, like juiced up Marvel fans on opening night, I think that most MCU fans would say, I want to see it in the theater with a bunch of other people because I want to see, are these guys in it? Are they not in it? What do we don't? I want to cheer. I want to clap. And I think people feel that way about Avengers Endgame the same way. Yeah. But I think if you go to somebody who's like, would you rather watch King Richard at home or in the theater? They'll go like, I don't care. Can I watch it at home? Great.
Especially the casual fan.
Yeah.
Especially the casual fan, and not just the Marvel fan, right? Like, and I always bring up my friend John Pinto. He's not in our bubble, loves movies. Yeah. probably didn't even know Obi-Wan had a TV show coming out until I told him last time I saw him a month ago. Yeah. King Richard probably doesn't even know what it is. If I called him and told him to watch it, he'll watch it and love it. But like, where do I go to see it? Oh, you can watch it on HBO Max? Great. But what do you really want to see? I'll probably watch that Spider-Man movie. That'll probably go see in the theater.
Exactly.
Because that's how it's built right now.
The only thing that I would ask as a fan of the big screen experience is I understand the people that want to watch it at home.
Right.
I get it. Crowds do suck. They're awful. Theaters don't enforce anything. The theatrical experience is a shadow of what it once was.
Right.
I understand that. The compromise I would ask is allow those of us just like a 2-week window.
Yeah.
To get the movie first.
Yeah.
And then you can watch it at home, but like I would only hope that the streaming folks understand that there needs to be enough of an exclusivity window for people to watch things theatrically so that there's still a choice.
I agree.
So that it makes financial sense for some movie theaters to still operate and be open so that the Vista here in LA, which is a great theater, a lot of history, can still keep their lights on and keep their doors open. And just understand that there's people that want that and be okay with, even if it's a week or 2 weeks, that those folks are going to get it first for some movies because that's just how that movie is coming out.
Right.
You know, instead of just being like, I want everything now and I want it my way and I want it at home and I don't want it any other way and I don't want anyone else to have it any other way. It's like, well, then you're just being an asshole.
But I'm
sorry.
Right. And it's like this instant thing that everybody has now. I can get it right now. I can just turn it on, I can stream it. And but there's so much material though, too. That's another reason that's the thing that hurts some of this stuff that comes out, because there's just, why am I going to spend $15 to see this movie when I can stay home with the subscription that I pay for and watch something pretty big, and all these other shows? But before we get into that, I do want to talk to you, because we got you for a little bit more. I want to talk to you about, let's see if you've been watching Hawkeye. I want to hear your thoughts on Spider-Man, because we kind of briefly touched about it. And I definitely want to talk to you about Jurassic, the new one. Very curious of how you're going to think about that. And before we do, one last thing, everybody, which is great. It's FITBOD. And I've talked to you guys about FITBOD many times over, and I'm getting a lot of messages that a lot of you are trying FITBOD, and I love that. And for people, what is FITBOD? You don't want to repeat the same exercises over and over and over again, because if you do, you lose sight of your progress, and it just kills your motivation. Don't get stuck doing the same workouts. You got to make progress towards the future and the future you. And what that does, what it means, is you got to overcome new challenges. What does FITBOD do? It creates a fitness program that continually adapts with new exercises and dynamic intensity that adjusts to how you're progressing. So you'll start being challenged, and you'll meet your goals at your own pace. Perfection, ladies and gentlemen, is an illusion. But there is always a higher level to strive for that looks different for everyone, especially when it comes to fitness. There is no perfect body that everyone can achieve. But what we can do is continually become a better version of ourselves. No workout is one size fits all. FITBOD creates a fitness program that continually adapts to you, so you stay challenged with new exercising, pacing, and intensity based on where you care and where you want to be. So for me, what I love about this app is that you can tailor out. Have you tried this thing yet, FITBOD?
I have not tried.
You got to try it, Dan.
It's my New Year's resolution, as always, to get in better shape.
Well, do this, because what's so great about this, you can actually pick workouts that are tailored to whatever like equipment you have, whatever goals that you have. The app has very clear and very easy to follow instructions. And the thing I really like about it a lot, it balances out muscle groups, and you're like recovered like that. So for me, I've been going to the screenings that I do. Maybe it's because people haven't seen me in 2 years, but they go, "Oh my gosh, you look like you lost weight. You look like you've been fit." Well, it's to me, I feel like I'm getting stronger. I feel like I'm getting faster, and it helps because of the personal training. I normally get bored of workout routines a week or two but FITBOD to me, it keeps it fresh. FITBOD's helped me work out every muscle group without overworking any of them. So here's what is FITBOD. They understand that the path to achieving your best look, it looks different for everyone. The algorithm uses data and analytics to help you build on your last workout to maximize your results. FITBOD workouts are balanced to avoid overworking muscles with varied exercises to keep you sharp. The personalized training for everybody can be tough on the budget, but FITBOD, $12.99 a month. It's like $79.99 a year. Sign up now. You get 25% off your membership. Pick up the pace on your fitness journey with FITBOD today, and your future self, it will thank you. 25% off your membership. FITBOD.me/SEN Live. Gotta try that FITBOD.
$12.99. That's the price of one of those movie tickets. You don't have to buy anymore because you can watch everything at home.
And you feel better about some of these movies. You come out going, oh, I still feel like you ate like a whole bucket of popcorn. You're like, oh, why did I do it? Not a FITBOD. FITBOD, you're gonna be feeling good.
It's always fun watching a Thor movie, sitting there in my meanness and watching Chris Hemsworth. Like, oh man.
Well, it depends. Watch him in Endgame. You'll feel better.
That's true.
That's true.
He was the everyman.
Speaking of Marvel and speaking of that, so have you watching Hawkeye?
I'm one behind.
You're okay.
Wednesday was our travel day. We flew here last week on Wednesday, and we were up all night, like packing and getting all that stuff. So I haven't seen 3. I saw the first 2.
Right.
So I got to catch up.
Okay. So I am right now. I'm 3. I got all 3. Mm-hmm. I got all 3 in the can. So out of and I'll explain after I say this, but out of all the series so far, it's my least favorite. I think the chemistry is great between the two of them.
Yeah,
I love Haley Steinfeld. And Renner's good in this one. There's certain things about it. Like the first episode, people mistook what I was saying here too. Like there's a lot of characters that this happens to in movies, but it always bothers me. They explain well that at 5 years old, she learned whatever it was, karate, whatever,
archery,
everything. She knew it. Yeah. My problem wasn't that she knows how to fight very well. My problem is that the second she puts on the Ronin costume, she's flipping off of cars, she's fighting gangsters, and they're like, oh, she got hit before. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how accepting she is of just like, I'm in it. Mm-hmm. I'm in it. And there was no it's just like, then what I will say, in episode 3, there's a character that they introduced that I won't ruin it for you, but they actually explain very similar to Kate Bishop.
Right.
But they show you why and how she is as accepting and what she came up with. So when she's doing it, I'm going, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. She's great. This character they introduced in 3, phenomenal.
Right.
So, and I think that there's a little, like the tracksuit gang or whatever. You either love them or you think they're really goofy.
Yeah.
I'm finding them to be a little too goofy for me.
They were goofy in the first 2.
They're goofy in the 3rd as well. Yeah. And it's like it's like I can't take them serious because they're basically just there for a gag.
Yeah. These are always tough because, I review some of them week to week. I probably would be reviewing Hawkeye week to week if I weren't, because I'm traveling this Wednesday too. Yeah. So I'm probably going to be 2 behind.
Where are you going next?
Home.
Oh, you're going home.
Yeah.
Back. You're going back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're staying what, full week?
It's full week, yeah. So I when you're reviewing week to week, it's like watching a movie and reviewing it 15 minutes at a time. It's tough. It's really hard. The first 2 I actually liked. Loki through the first 5, I think, or however many episodes, is my favorite by far. And I didn't think it quite stuck the landing, but I love Loki. What I like about Hawkeye is I think it changes things up, or at least the first 2 episodes. It changed things up a little bit because I to one degree or another, I enjoyed all the ones so far, but. When you look at the lineup, like WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and What If, after most of those episodes are over, you're like, I need a drink.
Yeah.
I need to go sit in a dark room alone for an hour and contemplate the meaning of life. That's some heavy stuff.
There's some heavy stuff in it. It's true.
And this one for me, when I got the first 2 Hawkeyes down, I was just like, it's fun. I don't feel like
it's pizza.
I've been through a philosophy class.
Yeah.
It's not that I mind the tones of those shows. I liked all of those shows to some extent, some more, some less. But this one felt more like, okay, this one's a little lighter. It's Christmas. You have it is goofy. It is silly, but I don't mind that tone because it sort of changes things up. I'm one of those people that thinks that they should have flip-flopped Eternals and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been a movie. I think Eternals should have been a TV show. I think they both would have been better served by it. But, I think that they're doing... The MCU is really weird right now because I think that they're sort of, for the first time since Phase 1, to me, they're sort of kind of reaching around, scrounging around for what are we doing? What are we doing? We've got multiverse here. Well, we've got Wanda over here doing her thing, but we've got Loki and the timeline here. And I'm sitting there as a fan going like, what does any of this mean? Like, how is all of this going to ever come together? So it's kind of nice to be watching a show where it's just like Hawkeye's in New York for Christmas and he wants to get home.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. Like I said, I don't mind the show. Yeah. I just said if you had me rank them all together, it's just the one that My wife loves it, and I think for exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said. It's just a kind of. She didn't watch Loki. She didn't get into WandaVision. She liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, but she just is. She likes the back and forth, the fun, the goofiness of it, and I think it. Yeah, it's not that I dislike it. It's just I don't know what it is. Maybe just getting older, and it's like this. I love the Loki stuff, and I like to be able to lock into it. But you mentioned the multiverse, so let's just close it out with Spider-Man, right? Yeah. As a box office guy, with the tickets the way that they're going, is this thing going to be in the top 5 movies of all time?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think that this is, sadly things change day by day. But as long as things hold roughly how they're holding right now outside of the theater, in the real world, the thing that I've been saying is I think that this is going to be the first post-pandemic movie in the sense that it's going to do as well as it would have done if nothing had happened. So I think that this is going to be one of those movies when I'm looking at the numbers as a box office guy that I don't have to qualify anything or say well, but it was in this or this amount of theaters or these theaters were closed or it was on this service or I think it's going to be, this is the movie. I think there's going to be a lot of movies that people that haven't been in a theater since 2019. Yeah. They're going to walk into the theater for the first time to see this movie.
This is the first big movie, big movie since.
If things don't get worse between now and then, which I hope they don't. But at the same time, I also think there's a point at which people are just going to say I've got to sort of do what I can and protect myself and others as best I can. But I also want to
still got to live life.
Yeah. And this is the first movie that I think has got that mass appeal where a lot of people are just going to be and I hope that everyone does what's right for them and people should stay safe and theaters need to make it safe and enforce guidelines. And if you're in a hot spot, then people should be doing what they need to do. But this for me is I'm not going to say all time, but I think this is going to be the first movie since 2019 that we look at and we're this is just how it would always have been.
Do you think it's going to deliver? You think it's going to be good?
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. It's a lot.
Do you like the trailers?
I do. I was actually really worried because it kind of reminded me of the Snyder Cut thing. And it's not the people. It's just that before they put out the Snyder Cut, Warner, but I remember Lorraine Warren died. And Warner Brothers put out a tweet that's remembering Lorraine Warren. She's the the only comments were release the Snyder Cut, and it's there's a time and a place. Right. And there's things like that Journal for Jordan movie the trailer came out with Michael B. Jordan that's coming out. Yeah. And it was all the dislikes were on it, and people were where's my trailer for Spider-Man? And so I was worried that Sony was gonna give kind of bow to the pressure and do if there's a big reveal, and we all know what that big reveal may or may not be. Right. I was worried that they were gonna bow to that pressure and do it in that second trailer because they're okay, fine. Right. I'm glad they didn't bow to that. I think it was smart because you still have that buzz going into the movie.
I do too, but I think that at some
point
there's
a lot going on in this movie. Yes, I hope they're able to keep the thread. That's my only thing.
Yeah, the reveal obviously is everyone is Toby and Andrew if it happens, right?
If it happens.
Yeah. But the reason why I agree with you, I don't think they should have showed it, but once the movie comes out and once people start talking about it, and depending on how it does opening weekend, it might because it might not need it. Yeah. But going back to the John Pintos of the world, that if you start marketing with those guys, or at least to a Toby,
if that happens, it's going to be in a TV ad on Saturday afternoon.
I think so too.
It 100% will be.
Our last thing, I know you're a Jurassic Park guy.
Yeah.
And I know how much you hated Jurassic World.
Not a fan.
So I didn't mind the Jurassic World. Was that 2015?
Jurassic World? Yeah.
And then what was the second one called?
2018, Fallen Kingdom.
That one was terrible.
I didn't care for that one.
The beginning of that movie was great. Yeah. That scene underwater. What a fun scene that was. And then it just all went downhill.
It's not.
Terrible. I hate that movie.
They're different like me.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. I forgot about that.
Throw her down there in the gas room with the dinosaurs. Just kill this franchise off once and for all.
Well, see, but I wanted them I'll tell you why I'm hopeful for it.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted from this franchise was ultimately what they're doing now. I wanted Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
And
Which they teased in the last one.
They teased it in the last one. Stupid, but they should have done that. How many parks do we have to go to?
Yes.
How many times we do the same shit over and over again?
This is the movie I've been wanting to see in concept since it should have been the second movie.
It's what Jeff Goldblum said would happen.
Yes. When they got him for the 2 hours in the last movie he was shooting, and
but even in the first movie, where it's like eventually evolution takes over, and if you make these things, they're going to take over.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way. So that's what I want to see, and I hope that's where we go with it. I hope the fact that we start to get into a place where it's essentially kind of like the post-apocalyptic, but the dinosaurs are the thing that are the zombies this time. They're the ones that in this movie they think, okay, we're trying to hunt them down, we're trying to get the dinosaurs, it ain't working. And by the second one, it's more and more. It's just trying to survive humans in the dinosaur world.
Yeah,
that's how you continue this franchise. But
I agree.
You're too afraid they're going to drop the ball.
Well, yeah, I watched that prologue that they put out, and it's like, okay,
you just been bit too many times.
I've been bit too many times. And listen, I go into every movie. I've said every Transformers movie I've sat in, and I'm like, maybe this is the one. And hey, you know what? Bumblebee was the Transformers movie. And
then they got rid of him because it didn't make enough money.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the thing that I hate about the way that the studio thing is. Like, they ran that dumb franchise into the ground for years. From the second movie on, they run that dumb franchise into the ground. Domestically, Age of Extinction, nobody went to see that piece of garbage. Everybody overseas went to see it. Domestically, people were like, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah, then they blame it on Travis Knight.
Then they put out Bumblebee to a franchise that they, through their own incompetence, drove into the ground and surprised nobody went to see it. And they're like, well, people don't want anything different. It's
they want Michael Bay.
It's because you dragged it through the mud for 10 years.
Yeah, it was bad. Very bad choice.
I will sit down for this new one, and I will be as hopeful as ever when that logo comes up that this is going to be the Jurassic World movie that I like.
Me too. All right, look.
That prologue didn't instill a lot of confidence.
Again, I don't know if it's maybe because I watched it with my kids. I didn't mind it. Maybe the second part of it, the first part of it was pretty cool. With all the dinosaurs in there.
They're playing it for laughs. Like those three people that are like, we're watching a movie while the T-Rex is behind us. It's like, are you stupid?
That part of it. Yeah, I understand.
Maybe they're just getting that all out of the way at the beginning, and then everything's going to get awesome from there. I liked some of the visuals and
well, either way, so much coming out. Great, always great talking, dude. Went just like that. And if you also want to check out myself, Dan, and Ben Bateman from past Friday, we were on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown channel. You can check that out. And don't forget, Dan Murrell just had a big match with John Roca. It was the second one-on-one match. You can see it if you didn't see it already on the schmoedownlive.com. You can get tickets still. The pay-per-view link is available. It was live. It was at the Globe Theater this past Saturday. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Dan Murrell. Follow Dan also. Go to follow him at Murrell Dan on Twitter.
Yep.
And your channel is Dan Murrell.
YouTube.com/Dan Murrell Movies.
That's it.
And you can also find all the stuff that I do on YouTube. I have a podcast channel. So Spotify, Apple, Audible, you name it. If you listen to podcasts, you can find me on there. If you prefer to listen, everything that I do on YouTube is available as an audio channel as well.
Go do that, because Dan just is, as you just heard for the last hour, he is a very, very brilliant film critic. I'm going to call him a critic. He is. And you should go over there. You should check out his stuff of what he does. A lot of fun videos, box office, obviously. And he just hit 100,000 subscribers recently. Congratulations on that. So, guys, and speaking of which, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that button. Subscribe there. Hit the notification button. Very, very important to do just that. We have the rewatches of The Matrix that we're doing on this channel. This Friday we're doing Animatrix, so make sure you are checking that one out. Episode Wednesday with myself, Brett, and Steph. I can't promise another Santa Claus song, but maybe. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Getting close to those holidays. Spider-Man right around the corner, everybody. All right, peace.